chair of the Global Black Caucus.
And I'm Adrienne. I lead our caucus's Get Out the Vote team.
Welcome to the Power to the People podcast.
2025, and we're in our season of opposition.
And we will not obey in advance. Power to the people.
The tiny parade, the giant parade with hardly nobody there. Basically, there were, the army. So let me just start with a little bit of background. I love military ceremonies. I'm not even kidding. When I worked for the army, I did a lot of, I was the mistress of ceremonies for many army ceremonies, like when they have the change of command, and you have to narrate it and you have to say what's happening and whatever. I just love these things, which I know probably sounds crazy, but I just liked them a lot, and I felt like it wasn't my job to narrate ceremonies. I just volunteered to do it, and you always have soldiers, like when the change of command, you talk about some history, and usually there's two people, and you have like a little bit of a fake dialogue. Let me just say that military ceremonies are highly staged. They're not, no military people are just going to automatically do the things that you see in a ceremony or a parade or something like that. So the one thing that Trump has been looking at all these other military parades. And I don't, like in North Korea and Russia, and I think that they had one for like Bastille Day or something like that in France, or I don't know, something that he saw. But he doesn't realize that they're highly staged and choreographed. Like, if you want something to happen, you have to make it happen, and you have to put the right things in place. And in North Korea and Russia, they make people go to those parades. You can't really opt out. You have to go, especially in North Korea. It's like you have to go. So the stands are full of people and whatever. But in America, we're used to doing whatever the hell we want. And for some reason, Trump and other Republicans or right-wing people just don't seem to know that. So that's why the parade didn't work out. That's why there wasn't hardly anybody there. Going to Washington, D.C. is expensive. Staying at a hotel in D.C. is expensive. All these things. So it was never going to be the success that there weren't ever going to be thousands of people, 50,000, 100,000, whatever people there. This was never going to happen. It's the same reason, especially for him, it's the same reason that he moved his inauguration indoors, because of the smallness of the crowd. He said it was the weather, but it was the smallness of the crowd. So they blocked off all of DC, brought out all the tanks and blah, 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 and, soldiers marching, and, to celebrate the birthday of the army, which just happened to be his birthday also. Which no one wants to celebrate. And if you saw the look on Melania's face, she definitely did not want to be here. And the next time she has to make an appearance, she will ask for a lot more money. Also, I know you look at me like I'm crazy, but it's true. She's getting paid to show up. If you saw the look on Marco Rubio's face when he yawned during the ceremony, yeah, it didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. It wasn't as exciting or thrilling. And the reason it wasn't as exciting and thrilling is because it never was going to be exciting. Watching tanks and soldiers go by, it's not that exciting. I'm sorry.
Somebody
It's
said
not.
kids would like it. I saw somebody trying to defend it.
I don't know why they were trying to defend it, but they said something. Oh, I'm sure it was gonna. There were a lot of families because the kids would love to see tanks. People were like, please, you see them in museums. People have seen tanks.
Yes, go watch a movie.
Um,
Like, go watch a movie if you want to see a tank. I don't I never, I've never been a part of a ceremony like that. All of them were like a little more scaled back from that. Like because it's a waste of money. They spent like, I don't know, $45 million to get all the tanks there and all the different equipment and soldiers and whatever. Um, that's a lot of money. It would have been it would have been better if he had just had like a party or something as to celebrate. He More people would have come. And a lot of the Republican senators and congressmen, they left DC for the weekend. So they weren't even
they
going
were
to be
at
a
the
part
No
of it.
Kings parade. No,
Yes,
that's
yeah, a lot. Now, a lot of them were, I'm sure. Like, I just think that it was an ill-conceived idea, that in America we're not used to doing stuff like that, even for the 4th of July. And that if Donald Trump wanted to celebrate our military, that he should stop harassing immigrants, that he should stop taking away school lunches for children, that he should stop trying to take away their health care, that he should, because there's not really that many families in America. Okay, the Trump family is the one family that's never had any military service, but there aren't that many people in America that don't have a veteran in their family. So if you want to honor the military, stop hurting veterans' families.
yeah. I'm gonna roll back just a bit so we can wrap up because it was something you just said, which is perfect to end on. You said that parade that he had was an ill-conceived idea, just like
Yeah,
trying to be a king is ill-conceived. We don't go for that in America either. So if you've been voting, we know New Jersey had a primary. Isn't something in Virginia coming up?
that's right. That's
We got
right.
a black mayor in Omaha. People, we're winning elections. Pay attention to what's going on where you are. It could be something smallish, which is just a local election. People have to get replaced all the time. It could be something statewide, right?
That's
And you,
right.
if you're living overseas, go to votefromabroad.org. Register to vote, request your ballot, and register to vote, even if you did it last year, because there are always constant changes going on. We may not know exactly what's going on in your state, but we do know if you sign up with democratsabroad.org, you'll get plugged into the latest news, just like there were voters in North Carolina that were alerted about curing their ballots. There was a Supreme Court race, I think, where the guy wasn't going to let it go and
Nope.
didn't want overseas ballots or mail ballots counted. So you'd be alerted to things that might pass you by in your daily busy life. When you live overseas, it's not like, you're just on vacation all the time. You got a regular life. But if you plug yourself in with democratsabroad.org, say where you vote, you'll get alerted to anything that's relevant to you, to your district, to your state, and of course about the national elections. Now, 2025, people are voting this year, but of course, we're gearing up for next year. And we
That's
started
right.
this off, yeah, talking about go to democratsabroad.org.resist. Juneteenth is coming up. Anything else coming up that people, 4th of July is coming up? There are
Fourth
going to
of
be things
July is
going
coming
on.
up. Yeah, I think that we're going to have a few more protests, but you know what? It's Pride month, so happy Pride to everyone
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
right.
Yeah, and
Happy
so
Pride.
if you're abroad and or if you're in the United States, find your Pride march and go support our LGBTQIA plus people, because they are definitely under attack. And I think it's really so very important that we all stand up and say, we believe in human rights, and that these the people, we need to support everyone because we're all human and we all deserve human rights. Like there's no, should we give human rights to this group of people? Or, I mean, this is over. We have to just say we believe in human rights because all of our rights are tied together. I know it don't always seem that way, but they are. We're all bound together. And especially if you're an American, you know, our ancestors, all of our ancestors fought super hard, all of them. And I'm not just saying, not just Black people, but Asian Americans, Latinos, Native Americans, white people, Catholics, Protestants, like Jewish people. All of our ancestors fought this really hard to get us to a point where we can all be acknowledged. So,
And you know what, Angela, let me close with this, because we said we were going to talk about it and you just brought it up. We have to fight for each other, because what they do to the least of us or to any one of us, they'll do to all of us. For example, if they're going to wrestle a United States senator to the ground
yep.
who wants to ask a question during, I believe it's a press conference, aren't you supposed to take
Yeah, it
questions?
was a press conference.
Then they'll do that to us, and we know they're doing that to us. In 2025, they're disappearing us. They're making us disappear. We don't even have to talk about our history of how, they made Native Americans and, descendants of slaves disappear. We know that. But in 2025, we didn't think it would be happening in front of our eyes. And then government saying, oh, we can't give them back, or then they can come back and then they pick you up and accuse you of human trafficking.
Yep.
So if you're not outraged at what happened to the representatives and state senator in Minnesota, you should be. If you're not outraged about what happened to Senator Badia, you should be. If you're not outraged about what's happening to people in these ICE raids, you should be, because it's happening to the children. Children are always affected when things like this happen.
Yep.
And thank you to everyone who got out on the virtual streets, the physical streets, who showed courage in the United States on King's Day and no Tyrants Day, no Dictators Day. Thank you. If it's your first protest, hopefully it won't be your last protest. If it's your 1,000th protest, thank you for keep coming out. You're probably really good at signs right now. What was your favorite sign, Angela? Do you have one?
Um, well, I did not, but I totally forgot about this. I wrote this document. I call it our um Declaration of Re-Independence. And I printed it out like big, like something from old fashioned, and asked people to read it and sign it. And what amazed me was that so many people read it and signed it. Because basically it's a little bit of a like a riff on of course, the real Declaration of Independence, because
Did you
we're
take a
in,
picture of it?
yeah, I did. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can.
I'll put it for the episode card so people can see this.
Yeah.
And are you circulating it online? Are you getting virtual signatures?
Oh, that's what I should do virtual signatures. Oh, you're right. Because I just took it to our event and put it up and put a marker and a sign, and said, please read and sign. And I didn't really pay much attention to it while the event was going on. And at the end of the event, when we were cleaning up, I looked at the thing and it's just like, it's, there's almost no place for another signature. It's awesome. I feel,
Okay, so take it online now, since you run out of space, and get the thing going and get it viral. We're taking our
yeah,
Constitution back.
yeah, we're taking it back because we have to, you know, if you think about your children, what world do you want? And I know that's corny as fuck, like to be like, what world do you want for
But
our
kids
children?
are corny. Kids will have you laughing at the corniest thing. Kids are corny. The idea of wanting to have a family is corny. It takes
Yeah,
bravery in this world. So if, let's love the children. They're dependent on us, and for all the children, and for everybody who's uh, pro-lifer, redefine what that means and pour all into these kids that have life, and redefine what pro-life means for you.
Yes.
If you don't like pro-choice, you don't have to think that you're against anything. You're for the kids. So let's pour into all these kids. So remember the kids who are being separated from their parents by ICE officers. Remember
Yep.
the kids who are no longer getting federal or
School
state
lunch.
aid.
Yeah,
Yeah, school lunch, especially in the summers, those that lose it during the summer anyway.
that's
Um,
right.
think about the children around the world who aren't benefiting from programs like USAID or vaccine programs, other things.
Yes.
There's a lot to do if you're pro-life. This is the time to show that you are pro-life. As Angela says, that means you love all people. And if I'm going to speak to you, what would Jesus do? None of y'all doing what Jesus would do. So it's not too late. And I think the Pope said something recently. So always listen to the Pope.
Yes. Black Pope. Woo.
In
I
a
I
White
love that.
Sox hat, in a White Sox hat. Um,
Yes. Yes,
you know,
exactly.
I used to think, oh God, that looks weird, but I'm like, it doesn't. And I'm sick of seeing the president always in a MAGA cap. I'm like, is he really always in a MAGA cap? Is that allowed? And then he's going to talk about Zelensky. But I guess he doesn't wear it inside the White House. But anyway, I like the Pope in a baseball cap, Black Pope. Listen to him, dropping nuggets. So all you good Christians, this is the time that you can be like, oh God, you could be like, I was fooled. Beware false prophets. I'm a Christian. Yeah, I don't believe in this stuff. Yeah, it's okay to have a wake up. Right? You can be Saul on the way to Damascus. He turned into Paul, had that big awakening. So nothing wrong with that. So Angela, what is it? Votefromabroad.org.
Yep. Go to
Register
Vote
to
from
vote.
Abroad, register to vote, and just to there are about, I don't know, 25 states that allow overseas voters to vote in local and state elections. And all of our cities, not all of them, but like 90% of our cities are Democratic ones. So get your ballot, request it, and let's hold the line because he's coming for Democratic cities. Let us hold the line because these are the places where our families live and our friends. And even, okay, it doesn't even matter whether you know the people or not. They need to be safe. They need to be safe from this, I don't know, I guess Gestapo tactics like it's happening in California, and yeah, we have to vote, votefromabroad.org, big elections in Virginia, New Jersey. Let's keep New Jersey blue. Let's turn Virginia back to blue. There's a couple of smaller elections in Texas and also Pennsylvania. We've had a couple of reps die.
Nothing
So
small in Texas, I want to go back and say, because that's a state like every other one where local officials make all the difference. So
yes.
they're, yeah, hold the line. All right, Angela, so we'll be back. Um,
I think we're gonna be back in probably September because it's summertime and there's a lot of things going
Summer
on and
breeze makes me feel fine. Yeah, in Europe, they take the summer off. So don't hate. Use that time over the summer for tiny actions. Call your senators, your congresspeople, write a letter to the editor. Ask your friends if they know what's going on, what's concerning them. Ask them what they're doing, how they're
yes,
doing. Check in on people to see how people are doing. People are shell shocked still.
yes,
So check in with each other. Oh, yeah. If there's nothing else that you do, maybe, and I don't know what the deadline is, but Jasmine Crockett wants to be something. To see what is she running for within the House. So you can ask your representatives to vote for her. She wants to lead a committee on something. So you can call Hakeem Jeffries. You can call your other representatives, support Jasmine Crockett. We know she's a sister out there, young, on the front lines. Um, tell them that like it is. She should have a leadership position. I forget what it is. She wants to be the senior. I forget what committee that she wants to lead, but we see how she handles the other committees. Um,
Yes.
so we know she do an excellent job. So that's an action that I actually saw a white woman on YouTube said, let's get her in there. I can't think of this
Yes.
woman's name, but that's something that you can do if you're like, oh, I don't want to feel like protesting. Well, it does make a difference when you call. Oh, what have we learned about calling? You may not speak to the person. You probably won't speak to the person. Actually, you're
Right.
not going to speak to the person, but all the calls are logged. If they're recorded, leave it.
Yes.
And it's okay to call outside of your jurisdiction as well. Like, for example, if Hakeem Jeffries isn't your leader, isn't your rep, you can still call his office and say, hey, I vote in this state and I want Jasmine Crockett to lead this committee, that type of
Yes.
thing. 'Cause he's the
It,
ranking
that's he's the
minority
ranking
member, I believe.
member,
Yeah.
the minority. He's the minority, whatever you call it. That's not a good answer because
Leader,
we're
I think it is.
the minority leader. Yes. I'm not. But yeah, we have to, and what Adrian said about informing people and letting them know, because I know it seems like everybody should know what's going on, but one way to really help is to give your opinion. Because sometimes people are like, I don't know, But if you say, this is really stupid, or I can't believe this is happening, and this is, or, other people will be like, yeah, okay. Angela has an opinion. Okay, Angela always has an opinion, but my opinion, but I
Maybe
still
that's
say
not the
my
best
opinion.
example, but no, I'm just teasing. Yeah.
No,
And she's
no,
right.
but
Everybody has an opinion and influencer. Don't be afraid to share yours and have a discussion and say,
yes.
this is what I heard. This is what I read. Have you heard this? Help me research this. Is this true? What do you think? And you know what? I don't know, Angela. Are you having a lot of conversations with Republicans? Because that's a lot of work that
Uh
people say needs to be done so we can find common ground and don't let them feel bad for having buyer's remorse and we can't shame them.
okay, well, when you put all those qualifiers on it, I'm probably not the person to do that. Um for many reasons, not because I can't, but I mean, I will engage. Actually, I have been engaging with some Republicans. Sorry
I was
about
going
that.
to say it's kind of hard sometimes because I don't know if they would normally reveal themselves, but a lot of times it's when they're relaying stories that you're like, oh, you got buyer remorse now. Like, oh, I'm worried about my husband's going to lose. And, I'm from a military family, and my husband's former military. We're afraid he's going to lose his government contract now. Things like that. People reveal themselves. Um, because they'll say I was Republican, but now, so those opportunities come up, and that's what I'm saying. Don't be like, see, we tried to tell you. Think it, do that little dance in your head, fan dance in your head and all that. But
No,
tell
I
them,
know you're not supposed to scold people, but sometimes I can't help it. The other day, somebody that I don't go on Facebook a lot, but sometimes I go there, and this guy that I know, he had a thing, he had a picture of like a burning whatever this Waymo, like automatic, not self-driving taxi in California. I don't know why anybody would get into that. Okay, I wouldn't, not in a million years. Self-driving. There's no person. You just get in, punch some things
because
on a
you like
screen, and
Star Wars, you get into something
no,
futuristic.
I like Star Wars, but
It's
there's a
Star
lot.
Trek. Come
I
on.
do. I do, but their stuff works and our stuff is flawed. Like, you're just going to get into a car without a driver and then it's going to take you somewhere. Oh, come on, give me a break. I'd rather, not to mention it puts
Would you
cab
rather
drivers out
get
of business.
into it? Would you rather get into a driverless car owned by a cab driver, former cab driver, so now he's an entrepreneur, or a limo with Donald Trump?
Jesus Christ, Adrian, like really? Those are my two choices. Do two
You're gonna
things that
say
I
walk.
absolutely don't
You're
like.
gonna
I
say
guess I'll get
walk.
into the cab. Like, I guess I'll get into the cab. I'm like, I'll put my life at risk. I'll get in the cab. Fine.
You're
I'll
not
get
getting out unscathed in that from that limo, huh? Somebody's not getting out unscathed, huh?
no. Oh
You got
gosh,
a, you got a
no.
better chance of surviving,
I
right? The
I
Waymo.
to get in a car with Donald Trump, I'm pretty sure I'd be sexually assaulted. But that's,
And I'm just thinking it probably stinks. But
ugh,
yeah, like it
yeah,
probably
for
smells
sure.
funny.
Yeah,
But
oh God, yes, I'm sure it smells funny is not even probably the right, the right definition. But you know, I know I like sci-fi stuff and I like things like that. But there's a lot of things that I just don't like. A self-driving car. They've had too many accidents.
okay,
They've
wait
had
a minute. Why did you bring it up? Your friend, somebody on Facebook had a picture of one.
well,
Was there
okay,
one
all
on
right. So wait,
fire
let
somewhere?
me go back. There was in California, someone had,
Unrelated to the Diddy trial, because I heard he
had
burned
to,
it.
yeah, it was unrelated. They set it on fire and or and whenever I see and they were like, well, liberals always lose whatever when they which is this is nervy when they do property damage to things. They lose their point of whatever, their point there. And I'm just like, I always have to tell people property damage is not the same as violence. Like you can say it's violence, but it's not. If your house burns down, it's bad, but it's not violence to you. It's not the same as attacking someone or whatever, or killing someone or arresting them. It's just not the same. Or somebody else I saw on
Listen,
Facebook.
taking away food from kids is a violent act.
Yes, that is violence. That is absolute violence and terror. I can't even imagine what that must feel like to know that you're not going to eat. Like that's terrorizing people. Or there was somebody who shared something about there was a picture of somebody who had been waving a Mexican flag, and one of these ICE officers had them like pinned down, and they were like, nobody should be able to wave a non-American flag in the US. And I just wrote, is that how we're going to be when people come here for the World Cup?
I was gonna say you never been to an Olympics that was held in the
Yeah,
States or any
like,
international competition or
yeah,
just, that makes no sense.
no,
But that's just an example of fascism, right? Only American flags.
yes, exactly. That people, it's so easy for people to succumb, but you always have to push back and just let people know, like, this ain't okay. Like what you're thinking, it sounds good, but it's very unrealistic, because honestly, part of fascism is getting people to adjust, to adjust to
Well,
these
like
new
I always
methods.
like to say, don't acquiesce in advance. But Angela, let me ask you something since we're still on No Kings, way after we said we wouldn't be.
I
Um,
know.
what's the take on Keith Boykin did a post that said, okay, I just wanted to show you, some of the black people I've seen out here and how it's going. And, because a lot of people are saying, black people are sitting out this year. No, you're black, you didn't sit out.
No, I didn't
Would
sit
you have
out.
gone in the States? No, because you say you're not ever going to the States.
Well,
So
if
you
I
wouldn't have.
lived in the US,
But
I would have been there. But if
what's
I
your
had
take
to,
on black participation in
I
this
think
year in 2025 in marches?
that is pretty rough. You know, Donald Trump is a racist. All these people in his cabinet are racist. And right now they're targeting their ire on, Hispanic, Latino people. But that doesn't mean that it will change. It can't change. But my thoughts about this is that we better do something. I mean, I, you know, we have to do something because they're coming for us. We might not be the next thing they come for, but they're coming for us. So even you got to do something. You've got to stand up. I I'm not going down without a fight. And I think that even if it's just forming community groups and informing people, you know, Black people need to do something too. Try to stay away from, the Black bloc and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do anything crazy, but show your kids. That's one thing that I really like when people bring their kids to a protest. Um, because it shows the children, one, that you can stand up, and two, that your parents are stand up people, you know? So yeah, you know, next time there's a protest, go on out there.
I don't know. I can see both sides. And like I know my mom didn't take me and my sister to the March on Washington. I think I was one, no. But you see young kids out there, and my sister was 6, but her parents went. My father took her parents. She's more cautious that way. But for people who don't want to go out there, well, for people who are like, I'm putting my feet up, take a rest for all I've done before and with my ancestors and see what y'all will do because we tried to tell you. I still haven't recovered. That type of thing. I totally get it. And I was in that camp. It decided there are other things that I can do if that would seem or feel less to me than what I did in previous years. So I get that, and it's like it's okay. Nobody, fine. So, and if I'm in thinking in that camp, I'm like, okay, great, good start yesterday on June 14th. Thank you, Indivisible. You've always been out there. Thanks for leading the way on this. Great. What's next? What you gonna do next? Keep going. And then if you're like, yeah, I want to do it, but I'm scared to get out there are a lot of ways you can participate. You don't want to be on the streets. You can make signs for people, right? You can let other people know. You can organize supplies for people, put together packs for people, with fruit and granola bars and water. Like, what do you think they're going to need out there? You can
Yes.
volunteer. I know my home church in the States, but they do this for everything from the inauguration. It doesn't matter whose inauguration to whatever protest. We offer hospitality in our church because it's right down there, not far from the White House. You can work at one of those places and be part of a hospitality crew for people that are gathering to do that. So there are things that you can do. I mentioned the woman who never did anything and felt compelled, but listen to your heart. And if your heart's not telling you to do something, that's where you are now. So I would offer you to read up more and see what's actually going on because you could be taking a news break because it was bombardment after bombardment with bad news after bad news. And you could be like, I'm kind of taking a break and I don't really think anything's going to happen. You can be that depressed or disillusioned. But I understand where Black people are coming from on both sides because also another way to look at it is like, when have we not been out there in the streets or leading the way or doing something? It's like natural. It's like, okay, what's the next thing? Of course, we're doing something. I'm on this one chat. I don't even know what the acronym is. ST something, S or something, P. But they're going city to city doing things. They were like in Baltimore. They're in every major city. And I think they were out there joining other groups like Indivisible. So there are lots of ways to get involved if you don't want to be out there in the streets. And if you don't want to be out there in the streets and say, I'm taking 2025 off, congratulations. I hope you get some rest and get ready for 2026 when you need to be out there with making sure people are registered to vote. And
Oh,
the biggest
that's
midterm
that's
turnout ever.
yeah, but that's what I was going to say. If you don't want to be out there protesting, make sure everybody around you is registered to vote. Get them registered now. Start now. Like, I know that seems a little bit extra, but check. Make sure your aunt and your uncle and your cousins are, and your neighbors are registered to vote. Because we have to.
Okay, this is what I said, Net. I said SOTP. I had the acronym wrong. It's SOTP, State of the People.
Oh.
Power Tour. And so
Hmm.
they have been meeting like Baltimore, Philadelphia, all through the Midwest, West Coast. So if you hear of a State of the People tour um, coming towards you, um, it's happening. And they look for vendors. So it's like a that's like so if you're a black vendor, you can come set up. Um, I remember they're like in places like Chester, Pennsylvania, because somebody brought attention to the fact that they were closing the hospital that would have served that area. So they're working on all kinds. That's another reason if you're like, oh, we tried to tell them they didn't listen to us, they didn't vote for column, well, I'm out of it. Well, make sure they're not closing your local hospital.
Yeah.
So don't get that out of it that you don't worry what's happening that can affect your block. Did they ban those books that you read as a kid and now your kid or grandkid can't read them? Is that sheriff racist? So there are a lot of local things because I can understand where you're like, I just can't deal with Trump, and I can't stop them. They're the representatives. You can feel helpless, but you have a lot of power locally. I was just trying to scroll through to see what other cities they've been to, but it's State of the People Power Tour, and it
Yes,
may
it's
be
very
coming to the
interesting.
location. Did you see it? Yeah, it could be coming to
Yeah,
an
I
area
got
near
it.
you. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
down south. They're all over, aren't they?
yeah.
I think.
I think that's a really great idea because, I mean, we do need to work on our solidarity. And I mean, just remember, I know Latino, the whole idea that more it was more Latino men anyway that voted for Trump, but that there is a significant population of Latinos that did not vote for Trump. They did not.
Yeah.
So we can't.
There
I'm
was
not
some
going to tell.
movement, right? You can't say that his numbers in those demographics didn't increase, but it wasn't like they blew up. Um, and when you lose, of course, you want every single vote, and think with the shifting gone the other way. But it's not as if, but we should be scared. You don't want to see it be an upward trend. It's been an upward trend, right? There've always been people that vote Republican. You're worried about those now that voted even for Reagan that you're like, you hope they're still not voting for that party. You know, um, this might be unrelated, but did you see the Atlantic article? And I think they made a podcast like, oh, Obama's too silent. He should be doing more. He's too comfortable now in his retired life. He's just stopped playing basketball with celebrities, and he should be out there, taking down Trump. I'm like, no, he's fine. He's fine. And where's Bush?
Oh, he left when he got out of office and lost his mind, and he's at home painting dogs and stuff or whatever. It would be nice if he would speak up, but he ain't going to. I don't know.
I'm not sure the party would listen to him. And I didn't know he lost his mind and was painting dogs on velvet or regular canvas.
No, it- I that's how it is how it looks to me that he just started like painting and he painted all these, I don't know, kind of weird pictures and whatever. And I'm just like, okay, you were always crazy. I don't know what yeah. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan, but let me be clear. George Bush is like 1,000 times better than Donald Trump, and George Bush sucks. I Yeah, he sucked.
Well, I guess, if I were just going to answer the question as somebody who totally doesn't know what she's talking about, it's because he doesn't have anybody left in the party that would even listen to him.
Yes, that's true.
And I'm
That's
not sure who the Atlantic thinks Obama would whip up. The Democrats that voted for some of these confirmations, or Chuck Schumer that didn't vote to close down the government instead of pass that budget, or like who does Obama need to whip up that
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but how can I put this? Some of this stuff we just have to do on our own. I know that that's not how people want it to be. I had a one of my chapter members, we had a quick chat about the No Kings Day, and she said that she invited a lot of people, but they felt like this is literally what she said, that these people wanted something to be done, they just didn't want to do it. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not how this works. That's not how democracy works, period. Democracy requires all of us to participate. And I know that people like to think it's all up to the politicians, but there are representatives. We have an influence over the things that they do. We have an influence over who gets elected and who serves our will. And we're just going to have to kind of relearn that a little bit.
Oh, here's the good news. So you have time to learn this. I forget how many 200 something House seats are up, and I forget how many Senate seats are up in 2026. So this is so great. Indivisible keep leading the way. People keep getting out in the streets every day. I don't know if voter registration events are tied to these events, but that's the next thing that needs to start
yes,
happening in the
yes,
states for the people that are angry enough or concerned enough to be in the street. Make sure that that translates into a robust, record-breaking midterm election turnout. We have to
yes.
not be like we normally do. You know, we got to be
Everybody
like
needs to vote for sure. It's not.
everybody with buyer's remorse, everybody who said it didn't matter, those 73 million who didn't vote, and then the ones that have buyer's remorse, plus everyone who's eligible to vote now, or
Yes,
will be eligible to vote then, I should say. Vote, like, make this like the craziest midterm ever. Take the House and the Senate. It's enough to take the House and the Senate. So that's what we need to do. We got the Supreme Court we have, but we can take the House and the Senate and get impeachment stuff going and whatever else that can be done.
yes, we have to do everything that we can, and it's all a lot of little steps. Get registered to vote. Kind of stay up on the news. You don't have to read the newspaper. Go on YouTube and watch, some news, not even news, but just some influencer, like a left-wing influencer, not this right-wing stuff. Make sure your children understand the history of America, and that I've seen too many Black young men who have fallen for a lot of this nonsense that these red pill people serve up, that somehow it's that DEI is racist, and that they don't want to get um that they don't. I heard somebody say, I don't want to get a job just because I'm Black, and I'm just like, that will never happen. That will never happen. I don't know who told you
Outside
that.
slave or
Yeah, outside of,
sharecropper.
yeah, like that's never gonna happen. You're never gonna, no one's going to
I
just
mean, there
hire
are
you.
some Black jobs that, you may not even get. But slave and sharecropper, that's probably available to you anytime
Yeah, but the
because you're
rest of the jobs you have to be qualified for if you're Black. Sorry. Don't listen. But I mean, seriously, or if you're a woman or a man, either one, maybe explain that women didn't always have the rights that they have now. Like it's everything wasn't how it is now, and that we have to fight to sustain it. I mean, maybe tell yourself that too, like that you have to fight to sustain things. It's very important. I just think that I just think that this is the time for people to educate themselves, educate their families and friends, educate some strangers sometimes. Um, and then, you know, when the time comes in November of 2026, I'm gonna kick their fucking asses and send all these bitches back to where they belong. And then, of course, as I said in my speech, we need a Nuremberg um, to like shake stuff out, because this is not okay. I heard something today about these immigration detention centers and how that people are not getting medical care, diseases are running rampant in them. They're subsisting on like less than 1,000 calories a day there. They're like just feeding them the bare minimum to keep them alive. And that's bullshit. That is some Nazi stuff. Okay. What do you think that the concentration camps in Europe were like? That's what they were like. They just got enough food to keep them alive. They didn't get any medical care. Diseases ran rampant. It's not, this is not okay. And anybody that thinks it is, there's a place for them in the new Nuremberg trial too. I don't know. I think we should probably go, Adrian, because we're just
Well, you
talking
see, I'm
about
over here depressed. I'm like so depressed to thinking that no, this could be this is happening in the United States. I mean, we know horrific stuff has happened, but you always hope you passed it. So yeah, on that depressing note, goodbye.
well, okay.
Have
Let's
a good
not
summer. I mean,
have
what
a
do I
great
say now?
summer. Have no, but you know what? I understand why you would be depressed because it's not happy news. Okay. You know me, I'm the queen of like just reality. But the thing is that we still have the ability to fight. We still have the ability to stop this. So that's the happy news. We're we're able to stop this. So, as the name of our podcast is, power to the people have the power. So, don't worry, Adrian. We're going to kick their asses. And when we do, we're going to make this world a better place for everyone, not just the rich, not just the famous, not just white people. We're going to make this world a better place for everyone because that's what we need to do if we want to continue. So, Adrian, I love you.
I love you too. Power to the people. I'm this hope, right? Optimistic. I have hope for what I saw in the streets in No King's Day.
Me too.
Thank you, people. Power to the people.
Power to the people, everyone, and everybody enjoy your summer. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes, if something resonated with you, you learned something, or you want to take action.
Stay in touch with the Global Black Caucus. Our link trees in the show notes. And always remember, power to the people.